How did chivalry go from being about medieval battle etiquette to serving women through courtship?
No, actually, I don't even know.
Let's try a different one, okay.
No, I'm good.
You don't want to do it? Okay.
Yeah.
What's the difference between medieval chivalry and romantic chivalry?
Huh. Okay, I guess medieval chivalry would probably be like two knights fighting for a damsel. And then romantic chivalry would just be like simple things like opening the door, letting your partner walk on the inside of the street. It doesn't have to be anything big. It could just be something simple, little acts like that.
How does chivalry go from being about medieval battle etiquette to serving women through courtship?
I don't know. I guess maybe women are just placed on a pedestal, which they deserve to be. So maybe that's how it went from fighting for women to maybe kind of putting them on that higher pedestal.
So medieval chivalry was put into place for how knights were supposed to treat others.
How to treat how to treat commoners, how to treat nobles, how to treat your fellow knights, how to treat the enemy, and how to treat the wounded or any prisoners along those lines.
And so it was how they treated other people, how they treated each other. So it was a code of conduct that was put in place as like a set of guidelines on how to interact with society.
How did chivalry go from being about medieval battle etiquette to serving women through courtship?
I think it was just like a progression of like, this is how I should treat other people. And then other people adopted it into thinking this is how I should be courting a woman with the same kind of rules and honor, most importantly, honor and respect for the fairer sex.
Medieval battle etiquette isn't like really necessary anymore. You know? It's not with the times.
It's not medieval times.
Exactly.
Why do we think putting women on a pedestal is timeless when it really started only about 800 years ago?
Because women deserve the world. Should have started way before that.
I mean, I don't necessarily believe that's true because there was a lot of ancient cultures that women were actually at the forefront of it. It was the beginning of Christianity that started oppressing women and taking them off of that pedestal.
It was never a given thing in the first place. Women had to demand respect through history, and our treatment has only gotten better because we forced them to. If they wanted to, they would have.
Was chivalry truly about honoring women, or was it a clever way to control men?
Are men really controlled by wanting to open doors for women?
I think that men should be taught. You should be opening the door for a woman. You should want to pay for a woman. You should want to do these things for a woman because she is a woman. You are a man.
If romantic love was a medieval invention, why do we treat it as sacred and unquestionable today?
Why do you think that it was created in the medieval era when marriage was created before the medieval times?
They weren't any less human in like the medieval times. You know, they still felt the same things, and I think they still had the same complex thoughts we have about our own emotions now.
Was chivalry about honoring women, or was it really about men competing with each other for women's attention?
I mean, men will always compete because they want to compete with each other.
I think it was men's competing for women's attention, honestly. We're being really honest here.
If knights once jousted for a lady's scarf, how is that different from men today flexing wealth, cars, or even clout just to win a woman's number?
I think men have always done that. It's just about who's got the bigger muscles.
If women became the prize in these medieval competitions, did they gain dignity, or were they reduced to trophies while men were reducing themselves to contestants?
I think women have been treated as trophies for a very long time, and I don't necessarily think that that's a good thing.
What about men being reduced to contestants?
Is that a reduction if there's a winner?
When men kneel to propose or buy a ring they can't afford, how is that different from a knight bleeding in a tournament just to prove his devotion?
They were proving their devotion to their monarch, not to a woman.
The self-sacrifice that is necessary. And so I think that things should be done so that way people do not have to destroy themselves in order to pronounce their love.
Why do men keep humiliating themselves in order to outdo other men and then call it romance?
I don't know. That is a question I've asked myself for a really long time.
Why is it that opening doors, pulling out chairs, or paying for dates is considered romantic only when men do them for women?
Ooh, the bigger question is why is it only romantic when attractive men do it?
Why is it considered romantic for a man to serve, but oppressive for a woman to serve?
You know, I actually really disagree with that. I don't think it's oppressive, but I think there's a lot of brainwash going on. I'm just going to say it straight out like that.
Like I said, it's a system set up by men. Women weren't allowed to serve, so now it just seems oppressive if we do. The roles are just weird to switch.
How do modern women respond if you ask them to make you a sandwich?
They'd respond negatively, but it's just a negative term coined by men meant to antagonize women.
If chivalry did not exist, how would women define a gentleman or a real man?
Ooh. I guess it depends on the woman and what they're seeking. And so for myself, I feel like it's all about the personality and how they're kind.
Is chivalry in the Bible?
No, not in the terms we have now.
If God made women to serve men, why do religious men practice chivalry where men serve women?
Like I said, it's from region to region basically, but mostly on that terms. It really depends on what version of the Bible. There is a lot of wars about what the Bible means.
Does chivalry elevate women or just diminish men?
I think it elevates both sexes.
Why do women think that chivalry is just about basic mutual respect as opposed to a one-way servitude towards women?
I think it's just called being a good person. Anything, I can be chivalrous by opening a door. Chivalry does not always mean man. Chivalry can come from both sides, I believe.
Why do people think that chivalry is just about opening up a door as opposed to men being sacrificed and women being pedestalized?
Well, at the end of the day, I think it's about kind acts. It could be women opening doors. My friends have been very chivalrous towards me. They open my doors. We open things for each other. It's not just door opening. It's hard being on camera. But at the end of the day, all it really matters is being kind and respectful to each other, pedestal or not.
When a man always pays, always drives, always provides, who is serving whom?
The man is serving. The man, of course.
I would say the man is obviously serving the woman. However, it should go both ways. I mean, for myself, me and my husband, we always do 50-50. Sometimes I'll drive, sometimes he'll drive. Sometimes, he'll pay, sometimes I'll pay.
Can chivalry and equality coexist, or is that a contradiction?
Oh, yes, it can coexist because I feel like chivalry is just a man being respectful, kind, and courting a woman, and a woman can definitely equally give back in other ways.
The way that I see it, a lot of times people want equality, and this is just anybody, not just women, but everybody wants the upper hand in everything. Everybody wants equality until they're at a negative downfall. Like, oh, you got 2, so I want 2, but I got 3, but you don't get 3 because I want to be better.
How would you feel if society expected women to always pay for men, open doors, and protect them physically, not as a choice, but as a duty? Would that still feel like romance, or would it feel like an unfair burden placed on women?
I feel like an unfair burden.
So why is it not unfair when that burden is placed on men?
Because I just think since a long time ago, it's just been kind of expected, and I think men like to take upon that role.
If it's a tell instead of an ask, I don't think that that's romantic. I do not think that that is chivalrous. I think that playing into societal norms and not being your own person to stand up for the type of relationship that you want and need is unfair in any sense, man or woman.
Do you believe in 50-50 relationships or traditional roles, and why?
Traditional, because a man should always pay.
Does chivalry only exist on an individual level, or does chivalry exist in our government, laws, and institutions?
I would say individual levels.
Did feminism kill chivalry, or did feminism institutionalize it in divorce and custody laws?
Ooh, I actually don't know.
I think it does exist in our government laws and institutions when you consider that women can't be drafted, but I don't think it's pervasive or integrated in every aspect of our legal system.
Did feminism kill chivalry, or did feminism institutionalize it in divorce and custody laws?
I think feminism kind of killed it in its organic sense, yeah.
Why do people believe that chivalry is dead when chivalry is still expected and practiced in the social scene and the family courts?
Because it is so difficult to find it mutually. It's always somebody who doesn't find the other person attractive, or their standards are much higher and they have this fantasy in their head most of the time.
If men must always initiate, pay, and prove themselves, isn't every part of dating still chivalry?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So how can it be dead?
You know, I think I have a lot to think about later.
Why do we typically save women and children first in an emergency situation?
Men have always been sacrificed. Women and children are important. Children are the future, and the women can actually produce more and take care of the children better than we can.
Isn't chivalry the reason why men went down with the Titanic?
Nay, no, not. The Titanic went down due to faulty metalwork and faulty people telling how they should be and on time.
If men built the system and made the laws, why would men put chivalry upon themselves, placing them at a lower status to women?
It comes with a fault. Everyone that falls from grace must lift themselves back up.
I don't believe men are lower than women, and I don't believe women are lower than men, because we're all equal. We're all human.
If men must die for women, do women owe society the duty of giving life through childbirth?
Childbirth is a choice for, that person whoever is pregnant. It's their choice of whether or not to give birth or to get pregnant.
Do women owe society the duty of giving life through childbirth?
Not all women.
Well, why do men have obligations while women have choice?
Interesting question. Well, we accepted that. We accepted that. We accepted it as a society, as a man. But we're the first one to go on the moon. Man. We're the first. To create fire. Man. Not woman. We are the provider and the protector, and so therefore, we accept our burden and our responsibility of being such.
What happens as a man if you don't accept that burden?
If you don't accept that burden, God, that is just foreign to me. I mean, to be honest with you, the man who didn't accept that burden, I don't know, to be honest with you.
So how is manhood not just defined as a servitude to women?
These are deep questions here. Say that again.
So how is manhood not just defined as a servitude to women?
Not defined as servitude to women? That I do not know.
What's the difference between simping and white knighting?
That's a good question. Not too much. Maybe not too much.
The difference is that a simp is, I think he is destroying himself in trying to pursue a woman, while a white knight is able to maintain his own dignity and honor, while he also uplifts the honor of a woman.
How can chivalry be dead when simping and white knighting are alive and well?
Because it's the only way that certain men have to even speak to a female, because they're not courageous enough to just do it themselves.
How can men complain about simping at the same time we're telling men that they have a masculine duty to protect and provide for women?
The same way women like me complain about women who are super freaking brainwashed and have no idea what real life is like.
Why do we still worship women like queens while demanding men sacrifice themselves like pawns?
It's always been that way since time immemorial. Men should do as their duty, and women should be worshipped as queens, but men, after they fight in long wars, should be worshipped for their duty.
Why defend the injustice of male sacrifice just because it's happened in the past?
Nobody else will.
Why do men have obligations while women have choice?
I just think everyone has choice now. I think women select for men that are chivalrous if they want a more traditional relationship, and I think women select for partners when they want a more like equal cooperative relationship, and I think men likewise select for the dynamic that they want. I guess I'm just not sure. I think generally we're probably going towards a less chivalrous society, but I think it's still there. It's just people select for who they and what relationships they want to be in.
And finally, why did women who used to be placed on a pedestal choose to be equal instead?
I don't know, because I would rather be on the pedestal. But that's just me.
If men keep pedestalizing women while complaining about it, aren't they complicit in their own servitude?
I do agree that if you stick to cultural norms and that you are unhappy with and you perpetuate them, that it is your fault that it is being perpetuated. You need to be a stronger individual and stand up for the world that you want to see yourself living in.
Last question. Why is it when men court women, he takes her on dates, but when women court men, she takes him to court?
I don't know how much I agree with that. For the most part, like it's, I get where that's coming from as far as women are kind of, or excuse me, men are kind of expected to make that first move and go up and talk to them and ask them out on dates. And women are willing to take that first step for the most part whenever it comes to settling things in court. But it's hard to say it, but realistically, I think most of them are entitled.